Hello, fellow stargazers, and welcome to tonight. My name's Jess, and I'm the Facilities and Programs Coordinator here at the Palouse Discovery Science Center. As you look up one of these clear nights here on the Palouse, rare as they might be nowadays, you or your child might be wondering what that big bright thing on the western horizon is. Could it be a star? Could it be a planet? Well, believe it or not, stars twinkle, but planets do not. That's because stars are so far away that by the time their light reaches us and passes through Earth's atmosphere, it gets a little wobbly and distorted. But if you were to get up above Earth's atmosphere, like in the ISS, the stars wouldn't twinkle at all. Planets, however, are much closer to us. They also don't shine with their own light. They reflect light from the sun, so we see them as these bright, undisturbed points of light. And this big bright thing in the sky doesn't twinkle, so it must be a planet. But can you guess what planet it might be? Venus. Because Venus lies so close to the sun, it usually gets lost in the glare. But there are a few rare times every year and a half or so when it separates from the sun and becomes visible to us in either the early morning or the early evening sky. And in astronomy, this is known as a term called elongation. This is also why we give Venus the nickname the morning star or the evening star. Currently, Venus has been a bright presence in the evening sky since last August, and will continue to be one until around June of this year. But the entire month of April 2020 is when it's due to shine its brightest. How bright it shines really depends on how close it is to Earth, and also what phase it's in, since it does have phases a lot like our own moon. You may have been lucky enough to see it as it brushed past the moon just last week. But this week, around April 3rd, it's going to pass by the Pleiades cluster, or the Seven Sisters. You can always find the Pleiades if you draw a line through the three belt stars in Orion and head straight on through Taurus the Bull. Lying on the shoulders of the Great Bull will be this beautiful open cluster of stars known as the Pleiades cluster. If you don't have a telescope, that's totally okay, because the Pleiades and even Venus are great objects to view with just the naked eye, or even a plain old pair of binoculars. Venus is named after the Roman goddess of love and beauty, and in fact, all of its mountains and craters are named after women. If you were to visit this planet, it's only slightly smaller than Earth and has a very similar gravity, so if you could stand on its surface and somehow survive, it would feel pretty similar to walking around here on our own planet. But that's where the similarities end. One day there is equal to about 100 of our own, and it's believed that there are over 300 active volcanoes spewing all kinds of nasty stuff into its atmosphere. Its clouds are so thick that no real light reaches the surface, and the sky would be a sickening, dull yellow-orange color and smell a whole lot like rotten eggs. But keep in mind we could never really breathe the air anyway, never mind stand on its surface, since that thick cloud layer also traps tons of heat from the sun, making its surface incredibly hot. Scientists now suspect that Venus may have once been a watery world, and one that may have once even been habitable by us humans, but not any longer, of course. So as similar as Venus looks to Earth, or may have even been at one time, the environment is so tough that us humans will never actually be able to go there. So we send robots to do the dirty work for us instead. But it's even a tough environment for most robots to handle. Daytime temperatures can reach 860 degrees Fahrenheit, and with an atmosphere that thick and dense, nothing can survive the crushing pressure. But the Russians were brave and decided to send a few robots there, and the first and last to successfully make the journey was one named Venera 7, way back in 1970. Venera 7 was a tough little robot, but it only lasted about an hour on Venus's surface before it was melted and crushed under the Venusian atmosphere. But it was able to beam back a few pictures to us, and these are the only ones we have from the surface of Venus to date. So make sure you get out there and try to catch this fascinating planet with your own eyes now and through the end of June, but especially throughout the month of April as it beams brightly over the Palouse. Thanks so much for watching, and remember to keep looking up.